In the quiet halls of the Earth Space Observatory, Dr. Elena Morris stared at the blinking screen. The signal had appeared out of nowhere, faint yet unmistakable, like a whisper across the stars. Her fingers trembled as she adjusted the antenna array, trying to trace the origin. It wasn't like any natural phenomenon she had studied before. This was intelligent, deliberate, ancient. "Are you seeing this?" she whispered, calling over her assistant, Raj. He leaned in, eyes wide. The screen pulsed again, irregular, almost like it was alive. Where is it coming from?" Raj asked, his voice shaky. Elena shook her head, the gravity of the situation settling in. "Not from anywhere we know. Not from any star chart we have. It's older than the oldest galaxies we've mapped." Outside, the night sky seemed calm, peaceful. But in that room, the universe was speaking. And for the first time, humanity was listening. The signal repeated, patterns emerging between bursts of static. Elena and Raj worked feverishly, decoding fragments. They were small, meaningless at first glance, symbols, numbers, sequences, but something about them felt wrong. Not wrong like a mistake, but wrong like a warning. Hours passed. The observatory hummed with tension. Elena's mind raced with possibilities. Could this be a probe? A message? Or a warning from a species so old that its name was lost to history? Meanwhile, thousands of kilometers away, government agencies quietly received reports. Earth's most classified councils began to stir. If this signal was truly from an intelligent species older than the galaxy itself, it could change everything. Secrets buried in time might now reach human ears. Back at the observatory, the team finally pieced together a fragment. Elena read aloud, "Do not approach." The word sent chills down her spine. Who or what was sending them? And why warn humans? The message felt urgent, desperate. It was as if the universe itself had handed Earth a key to a door they were not yet ready to open. Raj leaned closer, eyes scanning the screen. "It almost feels like it's watching us." Elena didn't respond. Her mind was already racing ahead, imagining the possibilities. An ancient species avoiding detection, hiding from the galaxy, and yet reaching out to Earth now. What could they be hiding? And why had humanity been chosen to hear their whisper? Suddenly, the signal changed. The steady pulses became chaotic, almost frantic. The observatory systems flickered, alarms whispered through the room, and the data stream surged with energy that seemed impossible for something so far away. "Elena, look!" Raj pointed at the screen. A new pattern appeared, something she had never seen. Shapes moved and shifted as if alive, forming what could only be described as a star map. It was massive, complex, and frightening. This isn't just a signal," Elena said, her voice barely a whisper. "It's a message, and it's meant to be understood." Hours melted into the night. Elena and Raj worked tirelessly, piecing together the fragments. They realized the signal was guiding them somewhere far beyond the Milky Way. But the thought of reaching out, of stepping into the unknown, was terrifying. As dawn crept over the horizon, Elena stepped out onto the observatory terrace. The first rays of sunlight painted the sky orange and pink, but her mind remained in darkness. Somewhere out there, older than time itself, a species watched and waited. And now they had noticed Earth. She whispered to herself, more to steady her racing thoughts than to speak aloud. "What secrets do you hold that could shatter the galaxy?" The hum of the observatory seemed to echo her question. And somewhere light years away, the oldest eyes in the universe blinked in response. For the first time, humanity was no longer alone, and the first step toward a truth too vast to imagine had already begun. But as the signal faded from the night, one thing became clear. The species was evading Earth. They were powerful, careful, and ancient beyond comprehension. They had survived countless civilizations, witnessed the rise and fall of stars, and yet here they were, watching, warning, and waiting. And for humanity, the question remained. Should they follow the path the signal laid before them, or turn back before it was too late? The screen blinked once more. A single phrase appeared, clear and chilling. "Curiosity can awaken what you cannot control." Elena stared at the words, heart pounding. Somewhere out there, the galaxy's oldest species had made their choice. And now, Earth had to make theirs. The night sky was quiet again, but the universe was not. Days passed since the first mysterious signal. The observatory team barely slept, their lives consumed by the pulsing messages from the stars. Dr. Elena Morris could feel the weight of every fragment. Each new sequence they decoded whispered a story older than humanity itself, but always with gaps. Pieces missing, like the universe itself was hiding secrets. Raj leaned over the console, rubbing his eyes. Elena, look at this. The signal, it's changing. It's directed at us now. Elena's pulse quickened. She had suspected it, but hearing it aloud made it real. The patterns shifted, forming shapes that resembled letters, words, warnings. She read them carefully. Do not awaken. Some truths will burn worlds. Her hands trembled. The warning wasn't just cryptic. It was deliberate, urgent. The signal wasn't accidental. It had found Earth on purpose. Across the globe, hidden rooms lit up as intelligence agencies intercepted the same signal. Scientists and spies alike scrambled to understand the source. Whispers of an older species spread quietly through classified channels. Older than any civilization, older than the Milky Way itself, and yet they had chosen to warn humans. Elena and Raj's team worked feverishly, decoding line after line. Amid the warnings, fragments of information emerged, coordinates pointing far beyond known galaxies, shapes suggesting structures of impossible scale, and patterns that hinted at technology that defied physics. Raj's voice broke the silence. Elena, this isn't just a message. It's a map. Elena stared at the screen, eyes wide. The idea was terrifying. A map to something ancient, something powerful, something that the galaxy itself seemed afraid of. Meanwhile, small anomalies began appearing on Earth satellites. Unexplained energy surges, temporary blackouts, subtle changes in orbital patterns. At first, no one connected these events, but the observatory team felt it instinctively. The oldest species was watching. They were close enough to influence the edges of human technology, testing, observing, but never revealing themselves fully. Then it happened. One fragment of the signal vanished. Just like that, disappeared from all systems, leaving only silence. Elena stared at the console. It's gone, Raj whispered. Just like that. Elena shook her head slowly. No, not gone. Hidden. They don't want us to see everything yet. They're testing us or maybe protecting us from ourselves. A subtle fear settled in the room. The warning now felt heavier. The species wasn't just ancient. It was careful, patient, and unimaginably powerful. And Earth was caught in a web it didn't understand. As the night deepened, Elena noticed something strange. The signal, though fragmented, seemed almost emotional. The pulses weren't just data. They carried a rhythm like a heartbeat older than time. And within it, she thought she heard urgency, caution, and something else. Hope. Raj looked over her shoulder, frowning. Hope? After all these warnings? Elena didn't answer. She couldn't. The map, the warnings, the disappearing fragments. It was like the species was sending a message and testing humanity at the same time. Could humans be trusted with the knowledge it guarded? Could they survive the truth? At the edge of the observatory sensors, a faint shimmer appeared, a distortion in the electromagnetic field, unlike anything they had ever measured. It lasted only a moment, but it was enough to make Elena step back in shock. They're close, she whispered. Not physically, not yet, but close enough that we can feel their presence. Raj swallowed hard. Do you think they know we're listening? Elena didn't answer immediately. Her eyes were fixed on the screen, where the signal had left a new fragment. Curiosity is a fire. Control it or be consumed. The words hung in the air like a shadow. The oldest species was watching, warning, guiding, and humanity had a choice. Follow the path laid out in the stars, or ignore it and risk awakening something they could never control. As the observatory lights flickered in the quiet night, Elena felt a shiver run down her spine. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, and this ancient species had chosen Earth for reasons she couldn't yet understand. Somewhere, far beyond the reach of human eyes. The oldest beings in the universe observed patiently. They had survived for eons, hidden from all, keeping their knowledge locked away. And now, they had noticed a small, curious species called humans, species that might not be ready for the secrets that could shatter galaxies. Elena whispered to Raj, almost to herself, "We're on the edge of something that could change everything." And somewhere in the infinite dark, the stars pulsed with the rhythm of a warning. The chase had begun. The world outside the observatory continued, as if nothing had changed. Birds sang. Cars honked. Life moved on. But inside the hidden halls of Earth's top space agencies, a storm was brewing. Humanity had received a call from the stars, and no one could ignore it. Dr. Elena Morris stood before a massive monitor, tracing the coordinates they had decoded from the signal. They pointed far beyond known galaxies, to a dark corner of space that had never been explored. Her team prepared the first unmanned probe to investigate. Raj, pacing behind her, whispered, "Do you really think we should go?" What if the warnings were real? Elena didn't answer. She only stared at the blinking trajectory on the screen. Her mind was flooded with possibilities. They were about to chase a species older than time itself, a species that had avoided the galaxy for eons. And now, somehow, it had noticed humanity. The probe, sleek and silver, stood ready on the launch platform. Cameras, scanners, and a quantum communication system. Everything designed to withstand the unknown. As the countdown began, Elena felt her heart race. This was more than science. This was humanity stepping into a story written long before humans existed. 3, 2, 1. The probe soared into the sky, disappearing into the black canvas of space. The observatory team held their breath as data began streaming back. At first, the signals were routine: cosmic dust, radiation, distant stars. But then, anomalies appeared. The probe's instruments detected invisible barriers, fields of energy that shouldn't exist. Its trajectory shifted subtly, as if some unseen force was nudging it away. "Something is blocking it," Raj muttered, eyes wide. But what could possibly? Elena didn't finish his sentence. The thought was too terrifying. Whatever the species was, it had power far beyond humanity's understanding. It wasn't just avoiding detection. It was actively preventing anyone from reaching them. Hours turned into days. The probe continued its journey, dodging strange energy storms and gravitational distortions that no physics model could explain. Each time the team thought they had stabilized the trajectory, the universe itself seemed to shift against them. Then the impossible happened. The probe detected a massive object ahead. At first, the sensor struggled to identify it. It was huge, larger than any known starship or asteroid. Its surface was smooth, glowing faintly, and radiating energy that warped space around it. "Elena, you need to see this," Raj said, voice shaking. She leaned over the console, eyes widening. The object was not just old, it was ancient. It had survived eons of galactic events, and yet it floated silently in the darkness, untouched, almost alive. Suddenly, the probe's feed flickered, then a strange image appeared. Shapes, geometric, impossible, shifted and reformed on the surface of the massive structure. It was as if the object was watching, studying, communicating. Elena swallowed hard. "It's they're aware of us." Raj's hand hovered over the keyboard. "Are we in danger?" Elena didn't answer. She only stared at the screen. Somewhere far beyond, older than time itself, a species observed her world. It had survived civilizations, stars, and galaxies, and now it hadn't noticed Earth. The probe sent back a final fragment before communications flickered. A message not in words, but in patterns, shapes that resonated deep in the mind, like a warning carved into the fabric of reality itself. Turn back, or be consumed by curiosity. The team froze. The warning was clear. The species was not just hiding. They were testing humanity's courage, patience, and understanding. One wrong step could awaken forces humans were not ready to face. But even as the warning echoed in their minds, Elena felt a surge of determination. Humanity had always been curious. Exploration was in their blood. The unknown called to them, and they could not resist. Somewhere in the dark vastness of space, the oldest beings in the galaxy waited. They had evaded contact for eons, guarding secrets that could destroy worlds. And now, a small species, humans, had caught their attention. The probe drifted closer, the object looming larger on its sensors. It was beautiful, terrifying, incomprehensible. And as it approached, the energy field intensified, like fingers stretching out across space to push it away. Elena whispered, more to herself than anyone else, "We are not ready yet, we cannot turn back." And so, the chase had truly begun. Humanity had reached beyond the safety of their blue planet, stepping into a story written in the stars long before they existed. The universe was watching, and so was the oldest species. The probe drifted closer to the ancient structure, its sensors buzzing with data that made no sense. Every instrument screamed that what they were seeing was impossible. Yet there it floated, a monument older than any star, older than the galaxy itself. Dr. Elena Morris stared at the monitor, unable to tear her eyes away. The shapes on the surface of the structure shifted constantly, forming patterns, symbols, even glimpses of constellations long gone. It was a language, but not one humans could read. Or at least, not yet. Raj leaned over his shoulder, voice tight with excitement and fear. They're communicating. But how? It's not sound, not light. It's something else. Elena nodded slowly. They're using the universe itself. The structure is alive in ways we cannot imagine. It's sending us messages directly into the probe, into our minds even. As they decoded the fragments, a story began to emerge. The oldest species had existed before the Milky Way was born. They had watched stars ignite and die, civilizations rise and crumble, and galaxies collide. They had knowledge of physics, life, and reality that could shatter any being who was unprepared. But most startling was the warning hidden within the patterns. "Do not proceed," one sequence seemed to say. "Some truths are not meant to be known. Curiosity can destroy." The room went silent. Even Raj, normally full of questions, could only stare at the screen in awe. Elena took a deep breath. "They're testing us. They've survived eons by avoiding contact, and now we're here. If we push too far, we could trigger something we cannot stop." Despite the warnings, curiosity burned in every human mind observing the probe. They couldn't turn away. Every fragment of information, every pattern, every pulse of energy seemed to whisper promises of knowledge beyond imagination. Suddenly, the probe's cameras captured something even more astounding. Glimpses of technology, machines that floated without power sources, structures that bent light in space, devices that seemed alive. It was a civilization unlike any humans had ever imagined. Raj's voice trembled. This is beyond anything we could ever build. It's like magic." Elena shook her head. "Not magic. Science. Science so advanced that we can't even begin to understand it. They've mastered the universe itself." Then a new fragment appeared, unlike the previous ones. It was not a warning. It was an invitation, or perhaps a challenge. Patterns formed shapes of planets, stars, and paths leading outward, as if pointing toward a direction humans had never dared to go. Elena leaned closer, heart pounding. "They're showing us their path. But why? Why risk it? Why reveal anything?" Raj shook his head. "Maybe they want us to prove something. Or maybe they're testing if we can handle it." Before Elena could respond, the probe's feed flickered violently. The energy fields around the structure reacted, forming waves that distorted the images. A pulse of light surged outward, almost like the structure was alive, aware of every action, every decision. The team held their breath. And then, for a moment, the signal changed. It was no longer just data or shapes. It was almost personal. Words, clear and chilling, appeared in the feed, addressed not to the probe, but to the humans themselves. "Your species is small, but your curiosity is great. Proceed carefully or your fire will burn you." Elena's hands shook as she read the words. She realized something terrifying. The oldest species had not only noticed Earth, they were interacting with humanity directly. They had observed humans for longer than anyone could imagine, and they knew enough to warn them, yet still dared to let them come closer. The room fell silent again, each person lost in thought. The message was clear. There were secrets in the universe far older and more dangerous than humans could comprehend. But for some reason, the species had chosen to reveal fragments. Elena whispered, almost to herself, "Why us? Why now?" Raj answered quietly, "Maybe because we're ready, or maybe because we're about to make the biggest mistake in history." Outside the observatory, the stars twinkled in their usual quiet rhythm. But inside, humans stared at the screen, witnessing the impossible. The oldest species was real. They were powerful, patient, and aware. And now, Earth stood at the edge of revelation that could change everything. The probe continued to drift closer, following the path revealed by the alien structure. And somewhere, deep within the shadows of space, the oldest eyes in the galaxy watched patiently, aware that humans were learning, but still uncertain if they were ready. The message was clear. Knowledge had a price, and curiosity could awaken forces that humans might never control. The universe waited, and so did the oldest species. The probe continued its journey, streaming images of impossible structures and technology beyond human imagination. But Earth's leaders knew it was time to take the next step. They launched a manned scout ship, the first humans to approach the domain of the galaxy's oldest species. Dr. Elena Morris stood on the control deck, watching the launch on multiple screens. Her hands clenched the edge of the console as the ship soared into space, leaving a trail of fire against the black canvas of the void. Raj stood beside her, pale and tense. "Are we really ready for this?" he whispered. Elena shook her head, though a small spark of determination burned in her eyes. "Ready or not, we have to see. We have to understand." Hours passed as the scout ship approached a massive alien structure. The scale of it was overwhelming. It dwarfed the largest human-made space stations, yet it seemed alive, shifting subtly, almost breathing. Light rippled across its surface, pulsing in a rhythm that mirrored the signals humans had received for weeks. Then, the impossible happened. A gateway opened, not physical, not like a door, but a ripple in space itself, a tier that led into an inner chamber. The scout ship drifted forward, cautiously. The structure seemed to acknowledge their presence. Inside, the chamber was vast beyond comprehension. Towers of alien metal twisted toward invisible ceilings. Streams of energy flowed like rivers of light, weaving between floating machines that defied gravity. The humans floated silently, awestruck. "Unbelievable," Raj breathed. "It's alive." Elena nodded. "Not alive. Conscious. And it knows we're here." Suddenly, a pulse of energy radiated from the walls. The ship trembled. The humans realized they were being observed, tested. From the shifting patterns of light, shapes began to form. Figures, vaguely humanoid but far taller and more elegant than any human. Their skin shimmered like starlight, and their eyes glowed with knowledge older than the universe itself. The oldest species had finally made contact. One of the figures approached the ship, moving with a grace that defied physics. Elena felt its gaze pierce her mind, reading her thoughts, fears, and intentions. She shivered, realizing that these beings could perceive every subtle emotion, every hidden motive. Then, without words, a message formed in her mind. "Your species is curious. That is why you survive. But curiosity can awaken forces you cannot control." Elena nodded, feeling the weight of the warning. We mean no harm," she whispered mentally. The figure seemed to consider her, its gaze penetrating yet calm. For a moment, everything was still. The humans were caught between awe and fear, understanding that the smallest mistake could have catastrophic consequences. Then, unexpectedly, a subtle alert sounded on the scout ship. A human scientist, distracted by the wonders around him, had activated a scanner that the species' energy fields interpreted as a threat. The chamber's light pulsed violently. A warning flashed in Elena's mind. "Your actions are dangerous. Cease or the consequences will follow." Panic surged through the crew. The species' energy rippled like a storm, shaking the ship. For a heartbeat, humanity realized how fragile they were, how insignificant in the presence of beings that had survived eons. Elena acted quickly, overriding the scanner, and sending a calm, mental signal of peace to the species. Slowly, the turbulence subsided. The alien figure lingered for a moment longer, then stepped back, the pulse of energy softening. Raj exhaled shakily. That was too close. Elena nodded, voice trembling slightly. They are testing us, but also teaching. We must learn patience, humility, or we will not survive what comes next. Then the aliens communicated another message, this one more cryptic. Some truths must remain hidden. Others may guide you. Choose wisely. As the scout ship floated in the alien chamber, the humans realized the enormity of what they had discovered. They were in the presence of knowledge and power beyond imagination. They were seeing the universe through the eyes of beings who had existed before stars were born. Yet the warning was clear. One wrong step, one misjudgment, and humanity could awaken forces it could never contain. Elena whispered to herself, barely audible. We are not alone. We are being watched, guided, and judged. And the choices we make now could decide the fate of our world. Outside, the stars seemed still calm. But inside that chamber, the heartbeat of the galaxy's oldest species pulsed quietly. And Earth, small and fragile, had just taken its first step into a story that spanned the eons. The universe had opened a door. Humanity had entered, and the test had only just begun. The scout ship drifted silently through the alien chamber, the hum of strange energy vibrating through the hull. Humanity had seen wonders beyond imagination, machines that bent reality, rivers of light flowing through the air, and beings who had lived longer than the galaxy itself. Yet, the true secret of the oldest species remained hidden, tantalizingly close but frustratingly out of reach. Dr. Elena Morris floated near the observation deck, staring at the alien figures as they moved with precision and purpose. Their eyes, glowing softly, seemed to hold entire histories within them. Stories of stars, civilizations, and knowledge that could destroy or elevate entire worlds. Raj broke the silence. Elena, do you think they're hiding something from us? Something we're not ready to see. Elena nodded slowly. Yes, and I think it's why they've evaded the galaxy for so long. Whatever it is too powerful, too dangerous. And yet, they're showing us enough to make us want it. The aliens began to communicate again, this time more deliberately. Patterns of light and energy converged into images. Galaxies collapsing, stars exploding, civilizations rising and falling. Then, in a pulse that resonated deep in the mind, came the truth. The oldest species held knowledge that could reshape the universe itself. They had discovered the building blocks of life, the manipulation of time and space, and methods to harness energy beyond comprehension. Yet they had chosen to hide it, not from selfishness, but from necessity. Elena's mind raced. They're protecting the galaxy from knowledge that could destroy it. Raj swallowed hard. But if we get it, even a fraction of it, we could change everything. We could solve every problem on Earth. Elena shook her head. Or we could destroy ourselves. Some secrets are not meant for us yet. The aliens seemed to sense their thoughts. A gentle pulse of energy communicated both caution and curiosity. They were testing humanity's intentions, gauging whether the species was ready to bear the weight of such power. Suddenly, one of the alien figures projected an image of a distant planet. Civilizations there had risen, gained knowledge, and collapsed under its weight. The images flashed quickly, a warning engraved in light. Knowledge without wisdom burns worlds. The humans felt the gravity of the message. This was not just about curiosity or exploration. It was about survival, ethics, and the responsibility that came with power older than the stars themselves. Elena whispered, voice trembling, "We must choose carefully. Every decision we make now could echo across the galaxy." Raj looked at her, eyes wide. "Do you think we're ready to learn anything from them? Or are we too small to understand?" Before Elena could respond, the aliens shifted their focus. A pattern of energy coalesced into a map, an intricate web of civilizations, technology, and cosmic phenomena, connecting countless worlds. And at its center was Earth, small and fragile, yet curiously significant. The message was unmistakable. Humanity had potential. The species saw something in humans that even humans could not yet recognize. A spark, a resilience, a curiosity that could either save or doom them. But as the humans absorbed the revelation, another warning arrived. The galaxy watches. The fire of knowledge is not yours alone. Use it wisely or it will consume you. Elena's heart pounded. The weight of the oldest species' secret pressed down on them. This knowledge was not merely power. It was a responsibility, a choice that could affect every star, every planet, every life across the galaxy. Rod shivered. So, what do we do? Do we take it? Or leave it hidden, like they have for eons? Elena exhaled slowly, her eyes meeting the alien figures. Their glow seemed to pulse in acknowledgement of her thoughts. Humanity was at a crossroads. Pursue knowledge that could elevate them, or heed the warning and survive to learn slowly, cautiously, as the species had. Then, without words, the aliens conveyed one final, chilling thought. Some awakenings cannot be undone. Curiosity can be your greatest gift or your final mistake. The humans floated silently, understanding that their decisions now were not only about survival, but about the fate of countless worlds. The oldest species had entrusted them with a glimpse of the ultimate secret, but whether humanity was ready or worthy remained uncertain. Outside, the galaxy continued its endless dance. Stars twinkling, planets orbiting, civilizations rising and falling. But Earth, small and fragile, had glimpsed a fire that could illuminate or burn the universe. Elena whispered, almost to herself, "We have seen the truth. Now we must choose what to do with it." And somewhere in the infinite dark, the oldest eyes in the galaxy blinked patiently. They had revealed enough to test humanity, but whether humans would rise to the challenge or be consumed by their own curiosity remained to be seen. The universe waited, and Earth had just begun to decide its place in the cosmic story. The stars stretched endlessly around the scout ship as it floated silently in the alien chamber. Humanity had seen wonders beyond imagination, encountered beings older than the galaxy, and glimpsed secrets that could change the course of the universe. Yet the most dangerous knowledge was still beyond reach, the kind that could elevate or destroy entire civilizations. Dr. Elena Morris floated near the observation deck, staring at the patterns of light flowing across the alien structure. Her mind raced, filled with possibilities and fears. Each pulse of energy, each shifting shape, seemed alive, watching, testing. Raja's voice broke the silence. "Elena, do you think we can handle it? All of it?" Elena shook her head slowly. "I don't know. That's the point. Some knowledge may be too dangerous. But the question is, will we learn enough in time?" The alien figures moved gracefully, almost like dancers in a rhythm only they could feel. They had shared visions of galaxies, civilizations, and cosmic forces. They had warned humans about curiosity, the fire of knowledge, and fragility of life. And yet, they had allowed humanity to witness it all. Suddenly, the energy in the chamber shifted. The lights pulsed faster, stronger, forming intricate shapes that filled the entire space. For a brief moment, Elena felt as though the universe itself was speaking directly to her mind, revealing fragments of the oldest truths. And then a vision appeared. A galaxy in flames, worlds crumbling under the weight of knowledge misused. Human faces flickered across the vision, some filled with triumph, others with fear and regret. It was a glimpse of what could happen if curiosity went unchecked. Raj gasped, This is a warning. Not just to us, but to everyone." Elena's voice trembled. "They're showing us a choice. Knowledge can be a gift or a curse, and we have to decide what to do next." The aliens communicated one final message, more direct than ever. Words formed in the mind, calm yet terrifying. "We have guided you. We have warned you. The galaxy watches. The next step is yours. Choose wisely or be consumed." Elena exhaled slowly. The weight of their responsibility pressed down on her. Humanity had stepped into a story older than time itself, and now they stood at the edge of decision that could shape the fate of the galaxy. Outside the chamber, the stars seemed to shimmer with anticipation. The scout ship sensors detected the alien structure beginning to fade, folding space in ways that made it almost disappear. The oldest species had done what they always did. They revealed just enough, then withdrew, leaving only the humans to decide what to do with the knowledge they had glimpsed. Raj turned to Elena, eyes wide with a mix of fear and awe. So they're gone. Elena shook her head. Not gone. Watching, waiting, and judging. The scout ship drifted back toward Earth, carrying humanity's first encounter with beings older than time itself. The data, images, and warnings were invaluable, but incomplete. Every fragment raised more questions than answers. And somewhere in the depths of space, the oldest species continued to observe, patient as always, knowing that the ultimate test had only just begun. As Earth grew large on the ship's horizon, Elena whispered to herself, almost as a promise, "We have seen the truth, and now we must decide what to do with it." The stars outside twinkled like distant eyes, and somewhere beyond the veil of time, the oldest beings in the galaxy blinked, knowing that the smallest species, humans, had glimpsed the fire of knowledge. And one wrong step could awaken a force they could never control. And then, just as the scout ship entered Earth's orbit, a faint pulse appeared on the sensors. Another signal. Faint but unmistakable. It was different from the previous ones. More urgent, almost alive. Elena stared at the screen, heart pounding. It's them. They're contacting us again. Raj swallowed hard. What does it mean? Elena didn't answer. She could only stare at the blinking signal. Somewhere out there, the oldest species in the galaxy had made their next move, and Earth had no idea what it would bring. The universe waited. The fire of knowledge burned quietly, ready to either illuminate humanity or consume it entirely. And humanity's choice had just begun.